Hi there, I'm Mance.
And I'm Dennis Rieder.
And we're with the Rieder Homes Group, and today we're going to be breaking down how accurate Zillow's Zestimate really is for home sellers.
Yes, and many people start when they buy or sell a home. They look at Zillow to find out what that price is, right? And today we know that AI is the buzzword in all markets today, so we're going to dive into this a little bit.
So the question is, have you ever seen a situation where a Zestimate was off? Helping families left and right here in San Diego, we've definitely seen our fair share of homes that client's estimate was undervalued for their home. A couple of reasons being is, can Zillow really walk into your home and see what features and benefits you have? They can't, right? So for example, we've had a recent client that we're actually listing their home this week, and Zillow, compared to what we value the home at, and we're listing it to see where the market is going to tell us, really is really showing us that it's probably $50,000 less than what ourselves are expecting to get from the property. Main reasons being is it has outdated tax records for the property. There was an addition done to the property years and years ago that Zillow still thinks is not part of the property itself. So it's missing about 400 extra square feet of the home. And that's why the Zillow algorithms and how they, price strategy they use for coming up with their Zestimate is so far off. So when we plan to list the property, we're going to notice that a big jump in the Zestimate automatically goes up. A lot of times we have clients question us, how does Zillow actually come up with these Zestimates or estimates as people will call them? So what they really use, it's called a AVM, or a automated valuation model. So what that does is it pulls from the public records that they have access to. It looks at any recent sales within typically a mile radius, and it'll compare your property to other homes that have similar square footage. They're going to look at the tax data, they're going to look at the geographic trends of the area itself, and they're analyzing all of these large amounts of data across many homes in the area. So they can only really see what's recorded on the public records or online. So if you've had upgrades or features added to the property, maybe you've added a pool, or you redone your whole roof that a lot of homes in the area haven't that have recently sold, it's gonna miss all of those features and benefits that you're able to provide for a buyer in today's market. Main reason being is Zillow's algorithm itself is so different based off of whether a home is listed on the market or not on the market. And we're going to talk about that more later on.
Yes, so as many families do look into Zillow to buy and sell again, how accurate, again, is it? The other swing is, again, Zillow won't come to your house, won't drive by your neighborhood to say, hey, your house is worth this. That's why real estate's really a hyper market, a local market. And after people look at Zillow or other platforms, they usually call a real estate agent to get them help to get them in there. So let me give you another example. We took another listing, and Zillow said it was $950,000, but that was about $100,000 off because of the condition of the home. Not only that, the AC didn't work, the appliances were bad. A lot of things malfunctions on there. We had squatters at the property that won't leave, so that really affects the property. So keep in mind, think of Zillow, it's like a weather app, right? You'll see the numbers, but really you want to take another look and go outside and kick the tires, you might say, to get the accurate price on that. So again, these are Zestimates. Use them as a guide, but really walk into that property or drive around the neighborhood to get the accurate details of it.
Yeah, that's a great point, because it's not just that your Zestimate could be undervalued, but it could also be overvalued. And that's why you want a local agent to really help you, guide you to see what the true value is in this market. So let's go over a couple of things, what makes Zillow get it wrong. Like you said, they can't physically walk through the home. They don't account for any interior upgrades that you've done recently. Like you said, the condition, right?
Yeah.
And the curb appeal itself.
Yeah.
So what we're noticing, there is a margin of error, for, like I talked about earlier, for listed homes, we're seeing a 2 to 3% margin of error based off of what we're going to be marketing properties at. And then on homes that aren't listed yet on the M list, we are seeing a 6 to 7% difference versus what the real true market value is. So that could mean very easily over $40,000 difference on your $600,000 price point.
Yeah, yeah. And even though Zillow is using the AI automated valuation model, again, just to emphasize the end of that story of that family, once we priced it right, my gut feeling was, and the data was 850, boom, we got an offer right away, and of course we closed the deal. So just keep in mind, it's a great barometer. We don't want you to get discouraged. Sometimes the houses will say it's really low, and you go ask for it, and it's wrong, the wrong price. That happens many, many times when our customers calls in. So again, Zillow is a great tool. It's a great app, but just remember, that's all it is.
A key question that most of our clients, tend to ask us is, how does the Zestimate affect buyers when they're looking at a home? It's very important for many buyers in this market. They really will rely on looking at the Zestimate before they're making the offers, or before they even decide if they want to look at a home. The unfortunate side is, even though we share all the points that we talked about prior to this, where the Zestimate's never been to their property, they never looked at the upgrades they've done interior wise, buyers will still use it as a barometer as to what they're willing to pay for a property. So it can create some doubt. It can lead to lowball offers, unfortunately. And if the Zestimate is higher, it can really create some confusion about the pricing and why it's priced so low. I've had clients come to me and say, the Zestimate's saying it's $30,000 more than what they're asking for. Is there something wrong with the property? It's a fair question, but it's an unfortunate question, because a seller could do everything right about, preparing the property, making any upgrades to the property that they feel like them and their agent need to be done to make it marketable in today's market. But the Zestimate can really throw it off. So what we recommend to our clients is to really be careful about reviewing the Zestimate numbers. Rely more on your local agent than anything else, because they truly know what the recent comps are, why one is listed at one price versus another price based off of the upgrades and the cost of those upgrades locally, which is a huge factor. So perception does matter, but you have to be careful because it's not always fully accurate.
Really, why doesn't Zillow keep up with what's happening in real time, despite the buzzword of AI going on today? Well, they rely on past records from the city, from the government, and we know how that becomes at times. Things are not updated. There's big delays on that. What's going on today? Interest rates fluctuate, job growth changes a lot, and then the local demand. So we could see that Zillow can't keep up with that. This hyper market that we're in, again, to go to your nearest real estate person that you trust and then call them up to get that accurate data. Again, the algorithms are doing their best, but still, you got to walk into the house, you got to check out the neighborhood, and you need to find someone or hire somebody that knows that area. That will really help you out to get the best results.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, the question is, should someone rely on their Zestimate if they're looking for a home or they're looking to sell the home? And like we talked about prior, Zestimate is really just a starting point for you in this journey of buying or selling. We do encourage a personalized pricing strategy with a local real estate agent or broker who can really give you hyper-local data. And so, if we could be any resource for you here in San Diego, we can compare the Zestimate to what your real market value would be. We can make sure that we pull local comps just in your specific neighborhood, which is more accurate than anything else. And we can walk through the home and see what upgrades you've done to the property over the years that the Zestimate cannot see or the public records cannot see. So you may be, underpricing or overpricing without even realizing it, just because of listening to the Zestimate that's posted online. So, we invite you to call us, shoot us a message, DM us, send us an email back on here, and we'd love to help you to find that true value of your property.
Yeah, so again, thanks you for your time and watching this segment of this video about Zillow and the Zillow AI. We appreciate it very much, and we'll catch you on the next one.